Welcome back to the Culture Crusade.
What's going on, buddy?
Oh, mate.
Oh, my
Good
God.
to be back.
Oh, hear how long they cheer for you, Chad.
I know.
So long.
But he's here as well. We got Mike. How are you, Mike?
We don't do applause for that guy. We don't do applause.
Yeah.
I don't need applause.
You just know you're great. You don't need a validation.
Oh, God.
Nobody
good to
can
see you,
validate
mate.
me. You too. What's shaking, guys?
Oh, well, I mean, Rings of Power. That's what's shaking. Like, have you guys watched any of the Rings of Power? Season 2?
Nope. I didn't watch the first one.
I watched the first
mean,
season. That was enough.
I watched some of the first season, then I couldn't.
I have a rule. I don't watch stuff that I know I'm not gonna like.
I'm probably gonna wait till the second season is done and then just binge watch it.
Oh man, it's painful. This is like, especially when they drop those first 3 episodes. Oh, that nearly broke me. It was.
I watched
rough.
Agatha. I've seen those episodes.
Oh, dude, well, I was gonna say
masochists.
I know. I was gonna like, you made the right choice in not watching Rings of Power. And then Litdev comes out with Agatha, which I've also seen.
Do you guys feel a little less masculine now?
Dude, I am so secure in my masculinity. I can love
I can
Twilight,
watch Agatha,
and it doesn't bother me. It doesn't impact me at all. You know, when you're married and you got children and you're surrounded by swords and all this masculine energy, you can dabble in some of the feminine droid stuff, and you're perfectly fine. Right?
So much masculinity. Even Agatha started growing a beard. Insane.
Thing is, I have an appreciation of well, I was going to say good literature, which I do, but I wouldn't call Twilight good literature. Twilight, I've mentioned on the stream before, I have an academic interest in it.
Oh, this is going off the rails so quickly.
I know, isn't it great?
I had somebody in my Discord and they go, Royce, you know Shad likes Twilight. And I'm like, yeah, I'm aware. And they're like, and you're still going to stream with him? I'm like, yeah. He didn't say it was like his favorite thing ever. He's like, yeah, he likes it. Like what? Like,
look, if I could write something that was as successful as Twilight, I would not care what people thought of it. I'd be very happy.
Shad, you just have to tap into something that appeals to girls between the ages of 14 and 22.
Oh no, there's the same equivalent for boys though. That's what Star Wars is, okay?
Well, no, so
Star Wars is also
was.
Thank you.
God,
Don't dead name Star Wars.
Don't dead name Star.
No. When I say Star Wars, I mean like I'm only ever referring to classic Star Wars because I make a
Star
distinction.
Wars, and then there's Disney Star Wars.
Thank you.
Two very different
Star
eras.
Wars, and then there's Gay Wars. Let's get it right.
Disney Star Wars has pronouns in bio.
Yes.
That's what I said. They're gay, but maybe it's bi wars now. It's because it can't be.
It's they them wars.
It's they them wars. They wars.
Their wars.
Oh my god,
Them.
dude! I need to see that. I just need to see an internet skit called "They Wars," and just it'd be so great. Oh, the parody would be great on that. Okay, so you were talking about Twilight, Shad.
Well, like I said, I think it's actually because it's so successful, it's really important to understand why is it so successful, because I would love to be able to figure that out and utilize that, of course, in a better written thing, property, but I can see why it's so popular. And when you look at it from that perspective, it's like, all right, there are some things to just enjoy about this thing.
All of your arguments can be used for porn.
I think you just like it because it's written by a Mormon.
Except that one.
You're right. You can't use that argument. But the thing is, though, it's not porn. It's
porn for girls between the ages.
Oh, well, in that sense,
14 to 22.
Okay. Now we're using it in a different term because there is such a thing like sword porn and castle porn and stuff like
literary
that.
erotic.
Depends on what you mean by a sword.
Well, there's that.
Jesus.
As well.
Mike's just there tonight.
I know. It's firing.
He's on it, man.
I just
He was
got
hanging
here.
out with his. He was hanging out with his buddy.
Getting warmed up.
He was hanging out with some friends that, like, when I hang out with my friends and I come back to streaming after hanging out with my buddies for a weekend, I'm like, ooh, I really got to watch it on YouTube. Yeah.
I did just have lunch with my friend. I have another friend who just bought me a present. You want to see it?
Ooh.
All right.
Ooh.
Well, hey,
Comes
yeah,
in a
yeah,
box.
Comes in a box. It looks like this.
What's in the box? What's in the box?
It better be good. You're building up the expectation now, Mike.
It's I'm gonna guess a head. Is it a head?
I don't
Oh
know.
no, it's green.
Whoa.
Ah!
That's
Oh.
hilarious. Oh, whoa.
It is a nice, smancy watch.
Definitely better than the one that I got on my wrist.
Hey.
Damn.
You know, I like Night's Watch has been sponsored in the past by Valamore Watches, which make some great watches. And there was a discount. You get like 30% off. I wonder if that's still active. But they were some nice watches.
This was
man.
not 30% off.
It's 100% off because it's a gift.
That's right.
It's 100% off.
You
Wait,
must-
did you steal it? No, it was given to me. Oh.
Yeah, 5-finger discount.
Right. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Love that discount.
Good
I got good
stuff.
friends.
Yeah.
Where were we?
That would be
What
pretty
did
good.
well,
If you start giving away Rolexes if you got vaccinated. Pretty sure more people could start getting vaccinated.
Oh,
We were-
fuck. Dude, oh my God.
that one.
I just did a video. I'm sorry. This is great. I just did a video yesterday about Ruben Langdon, who is the voice actor for Dante from Devil May Cry.
Mhm.
And there's a rumor going around that he like quit acting. It was an unintentional rumor.
He was
Started by
based.
dude, kind of. I went and dug a little deeper. He throws haymakers to both sides. But he literally was like, yeah, he's like, I took a step back from acting because I, during the Biden COVID mandates, and I wasn't going to inject that experimental bioweapon into my body. So I scroll through the tweet thread because I'm like, all right, this is going to get really good. And a person goes, Ruben, I've been a fan of yours for a long time, and basically does this whole diatribe about how the shots help people and they save lives, this, that, and the other thing. And he responds with, you sound like Trump, and then posts a fucking interview of Trump kind of defending the jabs and the work that his. And I was like, oh my God, like, dude, just haymakers to both sides. I did a video on that yesterday. I did not realize Dante was like, because he is like, dude, he is anti-pharmaceutical companies, anti what the food companies are putting in our food. Like, he's, I think, policy-wise, he's probably more like more left-leaning than I am. He likes RFK a lot more than for sure, a lot more than I do. But
Make
in
America
at least
healthy
that, dude, make America healthy again. And he's
I mean,
all about
lefties
that,
used
dude.
to be that way.
And I'm like,
I know,
let's
right?
go. Let's go. Dude, I didn't realize Dante was that based. I was like,
This is
yeah.
this is how you know that the left, regardless, has no actual moral standing on anything.
Mm-mm.
They
No.
just do whatever. Well,
It
what's the
gives
meme?
them power.
I believe in whatever the modern thing is. What's that
That-
name?
well,
Like,
They're after power, revenge, and
Mhm.
control, and they usually latch on to
Yeah.
the easiest methods and psychological kind of strategy to do it. Like, causing ideological class warfare. That's one way, and
Yeah,
hold
legit.
people.
it's funny because I was listening to some of the old punk rock bands that I used to listen to when I was a kid, and I'm like, these are like legit conservative anthems now. Like,
Isn't that weird,
Trump
dude?
should-
And
Trump
like
should
back
start
in the
pumping
day,
some
the
TSOL
conservatives
out
were
of
like,
his
these
fucking-
darn kids.
It's so funny about that, right? Like I'm a conservative Mormon. And by the way, I'm not particularly radical in anything in terms of my conservative values. They're pretty run of the mill, right? And my values haven't changed, but suddenly, without me changing my views, I'm the most radical, toxic individual ever.
I'm good
And
with it.
I was like, now I'm punk rock. When
Dude,
I'm
I-
just
That's right.
I'm a conservative Mormon, yet I'm the rebel. Like,
That
what is going on with society? Like, all you have to do is be a married husband and promote family values, and that maybe men and women have roles that they gravitate towards, and that gender is a binary thing. And someone's like, "Whoa, holy crap!" That's the shocking stuff these days. My gosh.
It's dude, it's it's so dude, oh my God. Sorry. I was just checking. I just checking shit on my phone, and the most recent comment on that video I did, and he goes, because it Devil May Cry stuff, he goes, Ruben Langdon definitely pulled his devil trigger. And devil trigger in the game is like the super mode. It's like the berserk mode. Oh, it's so good. Sorry. But no, it's so weird. Like, you just have like normal opinions. Like, hey, maybe this medicine that you're telling us that everybody should take should go through more testing. You're a bigot. You just want to kill, dude. And I heard people that were like, you just want to kill black people. And I'm like,
what is?
Yeah.
Dude, they literally said that, and I was like, whoa.
It's the trump card they have in their pocket. Like, you just want to kill black people. Like, how exactly?
And I'm like, and they're like. I'm like, dude, like, I'm going to be real with you. Like, the government doesn't have a good track record. How dare you say that? You don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, Tuskegee experiments, anybody? Like, no, nobody wants to. That's a fun road to go down. That's not a fun road to go down. Don't go there.
Well, before we go down that road, let's quickly catch some super chats. We got one from James T for 799. Hey guys, just wanted you to know your thoughts on the Ghost of Tsushima sequel. That's good. That's a topic that I want to talk about a bit later. We have thoughts. We will have thoughts and talk about it. But like I said, that's going to be a larger topic. So thank you, James T, for the super
I'll
chat.
throw haymakers. We could start off with that off the bat.
No.
Haymaker.
First, I want to jump on the Rings of Power stuff first because that's the title of the stream, and I don't want to leave it till the end like we usually do.
No, you mean the last 5 minutes?
The last 5 minutes of the subject is like
the promise of the premise.
First. Yeah,
I
get there.
Here's my rule. I try to hit the subject of my streams within the first like 15 minutes. Like at that, I like watch the timer and I'm like, okay, 15 minutes. We got a hard cut. That's what if that helps.
We'll try. We'll try. Crimson Law for $2 says, screw Twilight. Watch a real romance like Berserk.
Oh my god.
Yeah, the real Berserk, the real romance.
Dude,
yeah.
That's
some epic romance there.
Berserk is rough, man.
I know. Berserk is one of the darkest.
Nah, it's fine. It's good.
It's so funny. People try to give me crap for my novel for how dark it gets, and then there's like Berserk over here, and I'm like, you guys don't know the half of where some things have gone. Like if you get triggered from my book, holy crap, Berserk is gonna make you want to end your life.
I like how Twitter just rediscovers Berserk every few months. He goes, "Oh my, same 4 or 5 pages."
It's right. It's the same 4 or 5 panel. It's them dudes riding into with the abdomens of women on spikes, and they're like, "This is horrible."
Those guys are evil. Those guys are like demons. They're kind of supposed to be evil.
This is what evil looks like, and they're like,
They
"This
do
is
some pretty gnarly stuff in Lone Wolf and Cub too.
It's like, it's
Lone Wolf and Cub is great. I've read the entire saga. I think 3 times. It's fantastic. Highly recommended.
All right. Well, thank you, Crimson Law, for the $2. Herman P. Hunters, the Law Forge, says that's a great Rolex watch, Mike.
Rolex.
Good for
Rolex.
knowing what time it is.
That's
Thank
what
you
watches used to be for.
Super chat.
The
Buddy
watches.
Rabbit. Hey, Buddy Rabbit. Good to see you. $5 says, I'm going to commit crimes on my wallet. Apologies for my lateness, gentlemen, and Royce.
Fuck you, Buddy Rabbit.
We love Buddy Rabbit here. Thank you, man.
Here. I give him all kinds of crap on my streams when he shows up.
All right. So, Rings of Power is not even as good as Twilight. It's that bad. See what I did then? See the segue?
I know, but now you sound like a hypocrite because you love Twilight.
Worse than Twilight.
I didn't, yeah, but I don't say it's good. There is bad stuff you can enjoy. Okay, Rings of Power.
Rings of Power would be better if it was written by a Mormon.
Look at Royce's face. He broke his brain.
Hang on, you can.
Dude,
you
I'm
can
pretty
like
good at
bad
math,
stuff.
and I can't even math that math. What the fuck?
But
you
is
can
it
like
worse than
stuff
horror?
that isn't good. Come on, you guys surely like some stuff that you know is bad.
Oh yeah,
right?
hell yeah, I do.
Oh, yeah,
I love it.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Hey,
I like him a lot.
Buddy
So I
Rabbit.
always get annoyed when all these lefty people go like, "Oh, it's good. I like it. Therefore, it has to be good." Like, no, not necessarily.
exactly. Like that's an evolution in maturity. I feel that a lot of people just don't grasp. They think if they like it, therefore it's good. It's like no.
Yeah, a whole bunch of people like Napoleon Dynamite, even though it's a terrible movie.
I know. No,
Right?
I told Shad a movie that I like, the Musketeer from the early 2000s. Love that fucking movie. Don't care.
What the ladder scene at the end with the
dude, I fucking love that movie.
Hang on. You're
So
talking
over
about the
top.
Musketeer with the sky ships in it and stuff.
No.
No,
Chris-
the better one.
with
No,
Robin.
the better one.
Oh, the one with the kung fu kind of choreography.
Yeah, it's got Stephen
Yeah.
Ray in it.
Oh,
Okay.
It's got,
good.
that one.
it's got the guy from Reservoir Dogs in it.
Oh, just so
Yeah.
the best
Oh,
line
and
in the movie.
The girl from American Beauty.
I think
she's
yeah.
in there as well.
Best line in the movie, the villain, he cuts down to do it, and he was like, "You're a monster," and he's like, I've been told that 3 times today. It must be so.
It was a
And you're
mad.
just-
I've been called mad 3 times today.
Yeah,
Must be so.
so
I need to
fucking good.
I need to
God,
rewatch that. I need to
it's
rewatch it because
so. Here's the
'cause
thing:
the-
the
the new
characters are
one-
good.
Okay,
the
well,
characters are.
the new one with Orlando Bloom, the
Don't-
newer
don't-
one, it's old now.
don't
The
do
Three
it.
Musketeers.
Don't do
It's
it.
terrible, and
No.
I love it. It is so dumb,
Well,
and
okay.
it's over the top. And Buddy Rabbit
yeah.
is just giving you a wink right there.
Well,
Rose.
like in the Musketeer, they kill his father. That's why he wants revenge, So in the one with like the sky ships and everything, like he was rude to his horse, and that's why I was like, that's dumb. It's the dumbest thing I ever heard.
It is so dumb, but I love it. It's got so much flash and style. Now, I guess there is a deeper discussion about what you gauge as good against what you like, because I believe that there are objective standards of quality storytelling, and you can like something that breaks those standards, which means you're liking something that is bad. Having said that, that people usually have this a completely different standard. They don't even. A lot of people don't even know what objective standards of quality storytelling are. And a simple base one is consistency and having good setups and payoffs and characters. And you should learn all of these when you want to become a competent writer. You need to learn about, what the standards of quality writing
Yeah,
are.
but Shad, if you ever acknowledge that there are objective things to storytelling, objective standards, then you might have to also acknowledge that some of the things that you like could be bad.
Mhm.
That's
Exactly.
But I'm
And-
good with it.
Immature people just like they that seems like that's an affront to themselves. It's like, how dare you say that I like something that is bad? Are you calling me
dare
bad?
you.
And it's like you
Is that
calling me.
maturity though?
Yeah, it takes a level of
It's
maturity, I'd say,
indoctrination.
to acknowledge that. You reckon?
Yeah. I mean,
I wouldn't
These
even say
people are
maturity.
taught
I mean, it
this
takes
nonsense.
maturity to get there, but there's another level beyond maturity. It takes a level of self-reflection. Like, we're not even just talking about maturity, like, oh, like we pay bills and like we understand we have responsibilities, but it also takes a level of self-reflection. Because I've met people who are mature, but when it comes to questioning them on it, they've never done self-reflection. They are who they are. I've been this way. You know what I mean? Again, maturity, but there's a step beyond that you kind of have to have maturity to get to. And I think that that's the problem, is that once you start talking about deeper levels of human beings, these people are so dense that they don't understand.
I mean, it's also an interesting aspect about, I guess, arrogance. Because when people shift the gauge of what is good based on what they like, the issue is, okay, as an individual metric, that can work only on an individual level, because you can't impose your subjective likes on other people. And so you could gauge something that is good based on your likes and dislikes. I love swords, and it doesn't, give me a cool sword and suddenly I can like something inordinately more than if it didn't have swords in it. But that's not gonna, a lot of other people aren't gonna get that reaction. Okay. And so
I got
Then-
a friend who
then-
watched all of the Jurassic Park movies because dinosaurs. And I'm like,
right.
dude, you read the books. You know the books better than anybody. And I'm like, those movies are an affront to the books. And he goes, I get you. But Royce, dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs.
I'm like, fuck you,
Dinosaur-
dude."
right,
And
no,
he's like, and he saw them in the theaters and then bought the DVDs. And I'm like, and he's like, dude, but dinosaurs. Like, I'm like, I don't.
Well, look, this is actually a good point, because you could have that individually, but you can't then extend it to anyone outside of yourself that does not share those same preferences. And to call something good is an implication that it is good outside of those preferences, that it's good on its own merits. And that's where it's like, no, like you can't really impose that, because then when you say something is good based on if you like it or not, and someone else doesn't, it's like, you're trying to tell them, that they need to hold your same.
See, this is where I'm
which
saying
is
I
where
don't
the
know if
arrogance
it's so much
comes in.
maturity as this is because the type of people who you're talking about are the same type of people who don't believe in objective morality.
Well, here is the next implication why I think people try and reject it, because as soon as you accept that there are objective standards in quality, that actually is got an inherent implication to there being objective morality.
Right.
And they, if people want
This wasn't
everything
planned,
to be-
ladies and gentlemen. I just know where Shad's going. Apparently.
yes, we're on the same wavelength. But the thing
Oh,
is,
you
though,
smart that look off your
Gay!
face.
what are you doing there, Rose?
Shad and Mike are touching wavelengths. That's all I heard. That's gay.
No, but hey. Sometimes we touch wavelengths, Royce.
Jesus. No, whoa,
Please stop talking,
no.
Shad. Please,
No,
please
the
stop
fuck
talking.
we don't. No. I like my wavelength securely where I keep it. Thank you.
Throbbing wavelengths.
I ain't waving my Lincoln, honey.
Massive throbbing wavelengths. Anyway.
This is the thing, right?
Veins all over.
For people who want just to be morally subjectivists, right? They then kind of, by extension, need to reject any objective standards wholesale. It all has to be subjective. The reality is what you make it. You are what you believe, and everyone has to acknowledge that belief. Otherwise, they're bigots, and it goes down, a rabbit hole into complete stupidity.
I see a lot of fat people that believe in food.
Have you seen all those fat pride influencers who died recently?
Oh, okay. Recently, or
There's-
just
the last couple of years?
Last year
Every
and a half?
day.
Last couple of years.
Someone who is very proud of how fat they are dies every 10 minutes.
Oh, I heard a story about that one. It was like I think a nurse or a doctor had a story dealing with one of these people, and it was a fat acceptance influencer who came in for a checkup, and she was so fat that they had to bring in a team of people to turn her over to clean her bedpan and stuff like that. And she got mad because she wanted to sue them because how dare you say I'm too fat I need a team to turn me. And the nurse is like, well, I mean, she was pregnant. I mean, the nurse was pregnant, and the nurse working with her was pregnant. So they didn't want to because this lady was 400 plus pounds. So they didn't want to damage themselves, overstrain themselves, trying to turn this 400 plus pound lady. And she's like, give me your manager. She did the whole give me a manager thing. It's like you got the manager, and the manager said, yeah, you're too fat.
Her name is Karen,
Out
by
of
any
curiosity, I just to ask, what have you guys? What's the heaviest thing you guys have ever picked up and moved by yourself?
Before that, I have some comments on Lit Dev's story because it's completely relevant to the conversation where they want to identify as being either thinner or beautiful or accepted and stuff like that, but yet they can't change reality that they weigh a certain amount and it requires more than one person to handle their weight, and they're offended by reality. Okay.
Yeah. I identify as thin. Well, find someone who identifies as strong.
That's okay. That's okay. Reality is offended by them. That's why it sent in a team of people.
But guess what? This also establishes that there is objective truth. Okay, there is an objective reality that
Gravity
no matter how
matters.
much you want to cry about, the way things are the way they are, you can't change that.
Oh, you
There
know
is
what?
an objective reality. And
I
by the
just
way,
thought of something. I just thought of something. We should have.
are
a
you going to
moment of
derail
silence.
again, Royce?
We should have a moment of silence for that hospital bed. God, that thing was in pain.
It was with the creaking and everything. I think I like that the manager of the story came in and said, yeah, you're too fat. I don't know why it was called. But speaking of objective reality and everything, these people who say there's it's all subjectivity, they get themselves in the corners. I heard maybe 2016, 17, 18, one of the guys who were all about subjectivity changed microphones. And he had to go out and say, I didn't change microphones because it was objectively bad. It's just different. I just changed it because I wanted to sound a little bit different, not better, but different. Even though it was very clearly changed the microphone because the microphone was terrible and want to get a better one. But you can't say that because saying that means there's objective standards of quality in audio. So you can't say that because you roped yourself into this corner that everything is subjective. So it's just funny sometimes.
It is hilarious because this is the other side to it. For people who can't stand reality the way it is and they want it to identify something else, you actually have the power to change reality. If you want to be thinner and identify as being thinner, you can become thinner. It is possible, but it requires effort and work. You can change reality around you by choice and action.
That reminds me of the Mary Sue's Day, right? Like Ray
that's a wonderful
can just
message
get
for
powers.
Captain
Marvel could just get powers that didn't work for them. Like they never work. They want to be powerful and have all these powers with their characters, but none of the characters really have to work for it or suffer for it. They just kind of get them.
You know, it reminds me of the Greatest American Hero because it was great because he just got powers, but he had no idea how to use them. So it's like that's the journey. Even if you do just get powers, it's like you have to figure out how to use them before you like break somebody.
Shad, I would love to use your image and likeness on a T-shirt, and I just want you doing this like the Uncle Sam point, and I just want to put the words around it. You can be a reality warper too.
You can. But no, it's the truth. And there are barriers along the ways to your goal. And so what you need to do is think of the ways to, overcome those barriers, right? I wanted to publish a book, okay? And boy, more and more, right, as time goes on, do I get a clearer realization that no major publishing house would touch my book with a 10-foot pole. It's like, and it gets more problematic with how more crazy people get, right? And then
you indie published, and I could tell you from personal experience, indie publishing is tough. It's a lot of work.
Well, here's the thing, right? I got offered for this book, my novel, to be taken up by one of the most prominent and largest literary agents in the world. Okay, you might have heard of Brandon Sanderson, a big author in the world, right?
Yeah, I think I heard of him once or twice.
Yeah, his literary agent.
He's pretty new, right?
Yeah, right. His literary agent, Joshua Bilms, offered to represent my book. Okay, and if you want evidence that the book is written at a quality, professional level, right there is a big one because he's one of the biggest, literary agents in the world. And so he was willing to represent it, but he wanted the whole thing where I was actually only looking for international publishing. And so I can actually achieve everything, and more, actually vastly more, self-publishing versus traditional publishing. And if it was traditionally published, I always guarantee that I would have been canceled a long time ago. Like, not only for the problematic elements in my book, according to, insecure, easily offended people, right? But I'm outspoken. I'm a problematic person. And that alone, the mainstream publishing has gone so woke that holy crap, right? And so there were barriers in trying to get this traditionally published. But the way that you overcome those barriers in wanting to alter reality to the outcome that you want is you think outside the box. What are other ways to achieve what you want to do? Okay. And so one of the reasons I started doing YouTube was to build a fan base to be able to market my book to. And that worked out.
How dare you, Shad? You're just a dirty YouTuber. How dare you build an audience that you sell stuff to?
I believe we call people like you
You're supposed to have
grifters.
the thing, and then you're supposed to find the audience. You're not supposed to find the audience first, Shad.
Yeah, right.
How dare you?
How dare I? How dare I, completely bypass the gatekeepers and find a way to achieve my goals without needing to bow down to their standards?
Yeah, and then you're supposed to post about how you really, really want people to read your book on Twitter, and then people tell you, well, I'm inclusive and your book isn't inclusive, and then you need to go change that book for the people who are never going to buy it. What? Shad, you're not doing it the right way, okay? Just fucking, go read a book about doing it right, and then you'll be able to sell way more books. I can't keep the bed
but
up
I'm
anymore.
laughing because doing it the right way is forcing you to adhere to their rules and their control, and then they can gatekeep you. Okay, it's like, screw their rules. All right, don't break the law, but find a way to be successful. And
I speed when I drive is not my 2 or 3 miles an hour. But
shame on you, Royce. Shame on you.
People get mad at me for driving.
People just drive 80 here, so it doesn't like Sunday slow lane 80 miles.
I don't really care. I'm just trying to make Royce feel guilty.
Royce is Catholic. He always feels guilty.
It's interesting.
Okay, so first of all, fuck you, Mike. And second of all,
true.
You're not wrong. Might be out of line, but you're not wrong.
You're just not allowed to say it.
I mean, why not? The priest says it every Sunday.
Hey, this is some good news. My hoodie arrived today, Shad. It looks good. Hell yeah. Good to hear. Now, we're doing something a little differently with Super Chats. I'm letting them build up just a little bit, and then we're going to hit them in one go and in paces instead.
It's like a rubber band.
Yeah, we'll see how that method works, and we might jump on them now. We got one from Maji Chan for $5. Says, Royce, keep it up, and people might think you're an actual YouTuber. I look forward to this stream. Thanks for the fun, guys. Hey, thank you, Maji Chan.
She's Royce, awesome. She's so great.
Do you have any comments on posing as a real YouTuber? All right, thanks, Royce. We appreciate those comments. Alexander Cross for $2 says, catching up now, but Shad, what is the internet for? This is very true. And Xavier Hart for $10 says, g'day, lads. My family have a hobby in board games, not just your Monopoly, Risk, and Uno. I would recommend looking into Eldritch Horror, Paths of Glory, Call to Adventure, 7, Wonders, and Pandemic. Okay, I think that's multiple board games, because if that was one board game, that is one hell of a friggin' name.
7 Wonders is really fun, actually.
Is it? Oh,
yeah, I played a couple times. I recommend Pandemic. That's a team game where you try to fight a disease, and depending on there's different levels of difficulty. But even like the lowest level is pretty tough.
Is that based off of the old HTML game, Pandemic, or they changed it to, or it used to be Plague Inc. and then they changed it to? Is that based off of that at all?
I have no idea. But Buddy Rabbit for $5 says, leave your wavelengths out of the rabbit holes. We don't consent. That was to you, Royce. You trying to swing your wavelengths on everyone. Xavier, save your heart for $5.
The one
says,
swinging wavelengths.
G'day again. Have you guys seen the Ripper versus Horseman comic? I have seen it. In fact, I think I have a copy on my way. It looks cool. I'm thinking of getting 2 copies. It actually does look cool. Like, look, I wasn't a fan of the name Horseman, but when I thought of
Horseman,
hang on, Horseman. Okay, no. Like the Horsemen have been like a title for soldiers way back when. It was like, okay, no, Horseman.
Yeah, there's four famous ones in the Bible.
There's 4 famous.
Yeah, but like it's not Horseman though. It's Horseman. He's dressed up as a horse costume.
No, it's Horseman.
His costume looks cool.
But he's a horseman.
I'm like,
he's a horseman.
If
he were a cowboy or something, okay, horseman, but he's a horse. Like his costume is a horse. He's a horseman. Don't be embarrassed by the name.
Dude,
just embrace it.
That's how the author and creator says it. Horseman.
Well, they're wrong. Okay, it's not GIF, it's GIF. Okay, same thing.
I'm going to reject your reality and identify with it the way I want.
I'm going to reject your reality.
Fans have literally always done it. It's gone a little bit. It's just when the non-fans got involved.
Want him to be horseman, it should have been like, okay, he's death, he's a cowboy or a knight or something. Then okay, horseman. That sounds good. But he's dressed up as a horse. It's not Batman. It's Batman.
Ooh, he's right. It's not Spider-Man. It's Spider-Man.
But it's Spider-Man.
I've only seen like that occasionally. I've only seen it Batman B.
All right, so it's Batman then. We're gonna go with Batman because there's
no
hyphen.
It used to be Bat-Man in the beginning.
Sometimes it is, but I've always seen it Batman. It's always written Batman.
Right. See, they had to do the dash until everybody understood it wasn't Batman.
Yeah, it's Batman. It's like it's Horseman.
Horseman.
It's Horseman.
All right.
Did you get the older? Wait. Did you get the older Horseman or the Horseman newer?
It's never changed. So same thing.
Okay. Alexander Cross for $2 says the left lane is for crime. Put that in the air for a bit there. Buddy Rabbit for $2 says, who doesn't love some Jeremiah for ego
death?
I don't know what. Like, thank you, Buddy Rabbit. We appreciate
Jeremiah,
you.
ego death.
Okay.
Like the book of Jeremiah to kill your
I don't
ego?
know. Buddy Rabbit for $2 says, except Batman means detective as well. Batman. The Batman. Either way, I think they're pulling it off. Holy crap, we got a $50 super chat from Oofisher89 for $50. Says, hearing you talk about your book is making me want to get back to writing myself. I just have too many started. A reimagined Dracula, a low-mid magic fantasy, a Tom Clancy-esque World War III thriller, a Western, and a World War II paranormal story.
All together.
I totally feel that. I just watched the My Hero Academia movie, and it like
Which one?
I don't know, the one that just came out on Netflix.
I
And
haven't seen that one.
it was like some of this stuff lit. You remember all the stuff in Nobody's Business? I was like, wow, some of this stuff really kind of plays into that same like World of Heroes motif. It's like it really just wanted me to like made me want to write the next chapter in that whole thing and have somebody else draw it.
I get this too. I have multiple stories that you know I could work on. You guys saw a sneak peek on one project I'm working on, and that's just so many. And I just need to focus on the one that I kind of is like, what is the one that has higher chances of being done and has opportunities now? And that's kind of the one that I focus on. But for you guys, mate, write the one that you're most passionate about. And if it's equally passionate about, write the one that has the most market value. That's the one what I would suggest.
Has anyone ever read Dracula versus Hitler? Pretty good.
No.
Oh, that sounds great.
I've heard of it, but I've never read it.
You know, I just made a point on Twitter today because I was thinking about it on Saturday that, and this is totally tangential, but you brought up Hitler. Like
as I do.
Like World War II is my grandfather's war, right?
Yes.
I'm 53. It's my grandfather's war. My mom, it's like her earliest memory was getting firebombed in Tokyo.
Sorry, I need to interject here. It's so unfair that Mike has Asian genes in him. He's 50 something and he looks 30. Like, isn't that that's just unfair.
Royce does look older than me. That's true.
I know, right? Like,
I'm not gonna make that joke.
Like, you know, you are blessed by you're blessed by those Asian genes. Like they like seemingly don't age for ages, and then they hit a point where they age really fast.
I was gonna say he's gonna hit 60 and look 95 tomorrow.
Not 60, man. It's gonna be like 80 years old, and suddenly I sprout a very long white goatee. It'll be cool. Anyways,
like your eyelid just up down here, and it's like my.
This. That's me in 10 years.
That's me in 10 years.
But sorry for interrupting, you were saying,
yeah. So like for me, because I have, that's like I said, it's a living memory. My family was part of that. But for guys younger than me, it's like most of the World War II veterans are dead. There's like 80,000 left, right? So it's like most people in America of generations below mine or after mine, they don't have a living memory. So it's like when kids today, like my children, they're making fun of Hitler and stuff. To them, it'd be like me talking about Napoleon because it's so far back in it's ancient history to them. It's like nothing related to like real world like it is to me with my grandfather and my mom and stuff.
I was watching a podcast a while back, and they had a really young YouTuber on. He's like 20 years old, and they kind of they were kind of talking about how young he was, and they were talking about he was like, oh yeah, you know, people always say, oh, you know, never forget 9/11. He was like, dude, I wasn't even born yet. And like when he said that put things in perspective, and I was like,
right,
yeah, you can't exactly forget something you weren't around for.
Yeah, and this whole generation of kids running around calling Trump Hitler, to them, it's like...
Right. Yeah. This is why teaching history, not only just teaching history accurately and truthfully is so damn important. Because if you forget the past, you're bound to repeat it. And we are seeing signs of history repeating itself.
What do you think we've repeated it for the last, 10,000
I get so freaking annoyed when people are like, yeah, I'm a communist. Communist is great. I'm like, have you read history? Do you know what you're advocating for?
I have
you
a theory
idiot?
on that though, because
That's not
I'm
real
pretty
communism, Shad.
I'm 150% sure that if Hitler came back, like if he was resurrected and he came back, all the people in America, all the anti-Trump people in America would probably vote for Hitler because he's not Trump. Like if Hitler was on the Democrat ticket,
Well, that's
I'm pretty
the
sure they would
funniest.
literally vote for Hitler.
Dude,
Hitler would
that's
hate
the funny
Trump.
thing.
Hitler would be like, "What? He believes in the free speech
Small government.
and
No,
small
like
government and
legitimately,
people having the
you can do
guns."
this. You can do this because I have done it. You go through the 1939 Nazi platform, and if you remove the, we want to get rid of all the Jews stuff, everything else in their platform could have been written by Bernie Sanders.
Holy crap! You could probably just replace the Jews in those manifestos with white men, and that's just woke culture, right?
Oh, they
Probably.
did.
Right.
They did and published it, and it was hilarious.
Oh
was
my
so funny.
gosh, we're
So
living in strange times indeed. Remember, history repeating itself, right? Because these people don't actually understand the past history or learning from our mistakes. And yeah, that's where we see society going. And it's interesting how...
Well, they weren't around. Like we just said, there's so many they weren't around to see all this stuff. So
should be
like
taught it.
Yeah, I mean, dude.
Yeah, and they didn't have any family members impressing how important it was.
Yeah.
Impressing what they went through, right?
Gosh, I remember teaching my kids first time when they're about World War II and what World War II was, and they were like, "What?" And they're still pretty young. But I was watching World War II in color, the documentary, great documentary, goes through all World War II with restored footage and stuff like that. And they would sit down and start watching with me, and I got to teach them about the ideologies that were at play, and like this was one of the most significant, moments in human history. Like seriously, World War II is nuts. And it was the battle of the ideologies of totalitarianism versus freedom, essentially. If there's any war in human history that you could actually more easily define good versus evil in a larger scale war, it's friggin' World War II, man. And holy crap.
A lot of war was fought for profit and land back in the day. I'm not saying there weren't some that were.
I'm not saying that there are. There are
were
other
some-
motivations, but if you summarize it all,
but like if you summarize most war throughout history was kind of land and profit, or we really don't like this political guy. But again, the good and evil fight. Those are very few wars in history have been fought over actual good and evil, and World War I and World War II were definitely two of which the fact that both of those happened within, like 30 years of each other is insane.
Well, the majority of the Crusades.
I didn't.
Crusades are an interesting topic because people.
I mean, there's a couple there where you went sideways, but the majority of the Crusades.
No. But most wars, like if you look up war throughout history and the things that are classified as wars, most of them aren't a good and evil fight. Most of them are
territorial, and
it's territorial. There are some that are absolutely good and evil fights, but there are in the minority of the wars that have happened.
Oh yeah. I totally agree with that. So we got a couple more super chats that we're gonna catch up on.
Like Mr. E makes notes. Don't vote for Hitler.
Right.
Why does that have to be a note?
Try to remember.
I know.
I just put it on the
If Hitler comes back to run against Trump, do not vote for him.
Yes. Hey, Buddy Rabbit $5 says, "No, Dev, I only read the table talk. Was that in the appendix?" He's asking you a question, Dev. I don't know what the reference now.
I guess that was a Hitler versus Dracula versus
Oh.
Hitler.
Okay.
Oh yeah, that's what spawned this all. Okay, sorry, Dracula versus Hitler. You were saying?
This is Dracula versus Hitler. I've read it a long time ago, but it was like this. It's like one of those crazy books. It's written the style of Dracula, but it's like Dracula he gets killed or is put unconscious, and he just wakes up during World War II, and he fights Hitler. Shenanigans ensue.
We Jock Pupong McPlop for €10 says, or pounds. I get those mixed up. Just felt like reminding Shad that I live across the road from the oldest Norman castle in Ireland for my entire life, and I hope he is jealous. I'm very jealous. Although I'm jealous of the castles. I'm not jealous of the overpopulation in Europe and all the places around there. Australia's oldest castle is in his back garden, to be fair. Yeah, it's getting close. Mark Reality $5 says history. I got in an argument on social media as to whether or not there were women samurai. Looking at 5,000 years of Japanese tradition, I was no.
No, there were not women.
There were
samurai.
there were women assassins.
Swordsmen.
Women
Swordsmen and assassins. Yes.
Sometimes
not
the women.
samurai.
Sometimes the women would defend their households and stuff when the men were off in war. And there was a kind of wasn't there a tradition of them learning the naginata, the polearm and stuff?
Yeah,
and
they learned all kinds of weapons. It wasn't just the naginata. It was, but they were actually taught to what's the traditional writing?
Yeah, the Konoichi were taught to fuck. Yeah. That's how they got their information.
I mean,
I get the impression
you have to be taught that. Never mind.
All right. All right. Yeah, thanks, Royce. I get the impression that a lot of people on Twitter just think
Royce is saying there's no skill involved.
Asian woman from history uses Asian weapons means that they're a samurai. Well,
just
no, the samurai was a distinct class.
Well, they also think that we found one example, therefore it must have been common and prevalent.
Yes, exactly. Alexander Cross $5 says there was a movie about Hitler coming back. There was a scene at the end that's a good showcase of what charisma is. All right, I haven't seen that one, but
there was a Netflix. I think it was like a Netflix series or something called "He's Back." It's just like, what if Hitler came back in modern day?
I think I saw that. I haven't watched it, but I saw like just the to appear on my feed. But all right, we got another super chat.
I saw a video. I didn't watch the whole thing, but and somebody was making a comment that they did AI translation of Hitler's.
Oh, I saw that.
Like, it's a very normal, rational speech he's giving. He's just doing all this crazy stuff, and he's doing it. It's like, man, we should probably clean the parks.
People like to forget that Hitler started out as a politician, a more run-of-the-mill politician who was still, believing in certain like totalitarianism and control and stuff. And then he went much further down and got worse. But I saw that as well, and it's actually a more standard political speech about the injustices that happened to the German people imposed on them out in the fallout of World War One.
I mean, he was popular. He didn't come in a party.
He was popular for a reason.
And not we should kill all the Jews. That's
exactly.
Good idea. Let's
how far do you think he would have gotten if he started with that stuff? He started with a rational argument that convinced a lot of people to his side, and then they led them down.
Admittedly, he got a little irrational after the syphilis and the drugs. And
hey, Mark Reality for $2 says World War III supposedly started today. Is that about the bombing that's going on? Because I saw that. And
how many times did World War III started? I've lost count.
I've lost count.
Bro, those freaking bombs today were
if
crazy.
We're looking
they were pretty big.
If we're going to look at it in a historical context, World War III started about 4 or 5 years ago. Like legitimately,
they'd say it started in 9/11. And that'd be the Reichstag fire.
But hey, guys, we got another super chat from Xavier Hart. $5 says, "G'day again. Bring up the clip here. John Cleese talks about his late mum. It really brings perspective to age and events. We might not have time, but I'll put it on the back burner and see if there is something that we could share it at one point. But still, thank you very much for the super chat, Xavier Hart. We appreciate you. And Lance 999 says, I'm not really keen on hearing how World War II was a fight between good and evil when Churchill allowed half of Europe to fall to communism to save a third of Europe from fascism. I'm not saying that everything is cut and dry, but like I said, in broad strokes, overall, holy crap, was it a good thing that Japan and Germany
did not win. Good thing, I mean, I don't know how great it was, but in the beginning of World War II, the communists and the fascists were aligned.
Yeah.
Imagine if they just stuck together.
Holy crap.
The Molotov-Ribbentrop.
There would have been no stopping them.
What is it? The Molotov-Ribbentrop Accord.
Yeah, people forget that Italy was led by Mussolini and was fully fascist and on Hitler's side. It's like guys, if the Axis won, right? holy crap, would our world just be a totalitarian nightmare?
They tried to make shotguns a war crime. Shotguns would be a war crime if they won.
Like, seriously, like, so when it comes to World War II, yes, the good guys won. All right, I'm not saying the good guys didn't do bad things.
We just have
I would like to point out that 1940s England was a socialist state.
Was it?
So all of that entire continent was socialist. We were the right wing in World War II.
I would like to point out that America came in and saved your asses. So
look, America saved Australia's ass as in the Pacific and the fight against Japan. Holy crap!
Yeah, we beat Japan, but I mean, Russia beat
that was
but Russia. It was Russia that defeated Hitler.
Yeah, Hitler going into
Hitler committed
Hitler had
suicide
to, because he didn't have any resources. He was out of oil. He had all these munitions and zero oil to run them, so he had to go to Russia to get the oil, and that just screwed him.
Screwed him over so massively, and then like it was a race of invasion to who could take Berlin, Russia or the Allies, and if the Allies didn't do it, Russia would have wiped the floor.
Yeah, Russia was just
we were racing them ever since
at the time.
All right. And I'm not saying, like the D-Day landing and the push for the Allies wasn't epic and important and crucial. Like it absolutely was. But did they save everyone's ass? I don't know. Like they saved us from having Russia control most of Europe. All right. So that's important. I'll give it that. Because it was a joint effort.
I'm sorry, and who was it that funded and taught the manufacturing to Russia so they could have the arms in order to make sure they could beat who did that?
In order to
Galadriel, because there's a Rings of Power discussion, remember?
Yeah.
Rings of Power
I thought it was just fucking America that gave them literally like 5 times their own GDP, so that way and then sent over our best manufacturers to teach them how to manufacture the arms of war, so Russia can actually do it.
I would like to point
out.
All right, Royce.
Yeah, sure, it's fucking
Royce,
great.
who built the Panzer?
It's fucking awesome.
Who built the Panzer for Hitler?
Oh no, I know. I'm aware. Ford. Henry Ford.
Yeah.
Harrison Ford.
So wait.
So we weren't just helping one side.
Wait. So one man, Henry Ford, did that.
Not Hitler.
The American government funded the factories and the tank manufacturing for Russia to be able to fight Germany. So we're gonna
for Russia to be able to fight the American tanks.
We're gonna say that
one
man in America is equal to the American government literally funding multiple sides of this war, because let's face it, you guys were all socialist as fuck and couldn't buy bread for your people, let alone a fucking tank.
Hang on. Who are you calling you guys? Who are you talking?
Not
everyone in Europe.
Who is from Europe, Royce?
I don't know. You sound a lot like him, Shad. I just kind of
not you, Shad, not you. You guys were fine down there.
That Bill Hicks joke. We're like, oh yes, they have incredible weapons. Germany has incredible weapons. How do you know? Well, look at the receipt. So.
Hey, Buddy Rabbit for $5 says, let's get that oven back on track and let's go to the Reggie and Ghetto Gentleman. Ooh, I don't know where you're going with that. Buddy Rabbit.
That's a racy joke. You can't make
shoot at $10. I hate reality. It insults me. So reality doesn't care about your feelings. That's very true. Also, prayers for Israel. Iran launched hundreds of missiles a few hours ago. I've been seeing that on Twitter. And so things are ramping up. Alrighty. So, gentlemen, the subject of this topic of this stream is the desecration of Tolkien.
It's actually not Hitler. It's
It's not Hitler. It's kind of related in terms of it's written by people who are drowning in the woke ideology, and therefore they. It's interesting how it seeps in on so many things, like Galadriel being a girl boss, and they have an issue with traditional heroes, and like I don't want men saving women and stuff like that, and so many things, and then they start following trends, and they want to please a group of people that don't even watch the show, the shipping and stuff. And did you guys see the kiss on Twitter? Did you see that get floated around?
I assume it was a Galadriel kissing the girl or something?
Oh, Galadriel kissing.
Dude, I'm coming in.
Well,
on this
no.
stuff. I follow literally none of what you're talking about.
Okay.
To the point where I muted on my timeline because like
So Elrond kisses Galadriel in the last episode, and
wait, is that allowed? That's like a heterosexual kiss.
like it was a pretty passionate kiss. And Nerd Cookie says, like, it's hilarious to see the Rings of Power ship is drooling every time Sauron and Galadriel even look at each other, while at the same time vehemently insisting that the passionate kiss between her and Elrond was totally not romantic.
It was totally platonic, bro.
It was enthusiastic. And Galadriel is supposed to be Elrond's mother-in-law. Elrond marries Galadriel's daughter.
Well, I mean, they're probably going for that Game of Thrones audience. You know what I mean?
Right. I think is that what they're going for? Okay.
What are you doing, Step Elrond? Yeah.
It's weird. It's
Galadriel's just stuck in the window or something.
Like, I mean,
Elrond, help me! I'm stuck.
Help me, Step Elrond.
Right? I mean, Galadriel should be married at this point in time and have a daughter that's over like 1,000 years old.
Well, she can't be married and have a kid, Shad. That's not what strong, independent women do.
Well, isn't that an interest? Like, why haven't they shown her husband? And it's because they want to ship Galadriel with almost every single person, like character that Galadriel's in. They're making like long, intense staring, like they're implying something. They did it with her and Sauron massively, and she is a hots for Sauron. That's just a blatant at this point. But they were doing it more subtly, but it was there with her with Adar, that they were potentially shipping her with Adar. And now this one came out of left field because there wasn't any of those long glances with her and what's his face, Elrond. And then they come out and have this massive passionate kiss, smack on the lips, and they hold that thing for a bit. And it's just like, wow, you were wanting to ship her with everyone. Oh my god!
That's what I said though. Like they're trying to do this like ensemble cast. Like we go to the stupid knockoff hobbits. We go to Elrond or something. We go to all the his bromance with the dwarf man. But they should just focus on Galadriel. They clearly dislike her the best. Let's focus on Galadriel.
But she's the most insufferable character. But you're right. That is the primary story. It's of the making of the rings.
I'm not saying I like her the best. I'm saying the writers clearly like her the best.
That's a funny thing about what's happening in the season 2 is that they were so desperate to have these like other stories with the Harfoots and the Númenóreans. The Númenóreans had an important role, even though the whole season was retarded in season 1, but they were the ones that came and relieved the Southlands, even though they all failed, and Southlands got decimated and turned into Mordor anyway, in one of the most stupid, convoluted plots ever made. But all right, Galadriel was with Númenor, and she brought the Númenóreans over. Now in season 2, they don't know what to do with them. They're just like, oh, what about Númenor? And what about the Harfoots? And what about Discount Gandalf? They're just kind of farting around, and so they have these side plots that have no relevance or relation to the main conflict, which is the creation of the Rings of Power. And so we get these annoying kind of side plot, like just that rip. Oh, remember these guys? Let's do something. And what they end up doing is so pointless and irrelevant. It's like, this last episode, episode 7, was awful. Worst episode so far. Yet even with it being the worst episode, the one redeeming thing is that it didn't have any Númenor or Harfoots or Discount Gandalf in it. It's just like focused on the main awful plot. But at least it focused on that. Because my gosh, this show, guys, it is amazing. It is next level.
Everything that you just described is anti-amazing. You really need to.
It's amazingly bad.
So, you can buy these things, Shad. They're called dictionaries. They have definitions.
Oh, piss off! Don't you dare try and play this up with me. You want to go wordsmith with me, Royce? It's like, all right. What was the original meaning of awful, Royce?
To be filled with awe.
Oh yes, it was a positive.
To be full of awe.
It was so common to say something is incredibly bad, right? That awful became awfully bad.
Wait, did you actually think I didn't know that?
You were trying to play word games with me, Royce.
I know, and you tried to play one back.
And the point that you were trying to make is contradicted by the common use of language.
I know.
That people use positive terms to describe something negative. Amazingly bad. I mean, I'm astounded at how bad it is. I don't care, Royce. You're wrong.
It was interesting about this whole situation is that
I don't care. I'm gonna roast you anyway.
You read the
hillbilly redneck. Look at you.
No, I'm not a fucking hillbilly. I'm a redneck.
You are.
I don't sleep with my cousins, Shad. I'm not
redneck
from fucking Alabama, okay? Big difference.
But there was the thing about the, a lot of writers in the West, in America, they do actually hate the idea of men saving women. They're clearly in the minority because My Hero Academia has a huge female fan base because it's all about it's shipping fodder. And the thing is that one of the main things of the first major issues in My Hero Academia is Deku getting into school and he has to pass that test and he fails miserably technically. But he gets in because he's such a good person. He saves the main female character from this giant robot. He saves her life and is able to get in. Women still like the show. It's like they're just put off by that. They love the show because of the shipping fodder. They don't care if women are saved by men. They actually don't. In fact, they probably like it. It makes them like the men more. That these men are capable of going in there and saving all the women. They like it. It turns out women like it when a man can protect them and is strong and stuff. It turns out if you just belittle and castrate all the men, it turns out they're not really suitable for shipping fodder. They're kind of pathetic and weak and just unlikable.
But
that's why wokeness is actually against nature.
So many shows just fail on that thing because men like the idea of saving women and women like the idea of being saved by men, and the lengths that they go to subvert that in modern media is so like Wheel of Time. The second book ends with the main character saving a character. Her name is Egwene, right? And they seemingly so offended by that. Not only does Rand, the main character, not save the women in the TV show adaptation, he gets saved by the women. Not once, not twice, 3 consecutive times by 3 separate women. They were that offended by the fact that he saved them in the books and they had to subvert it. They can't freaking help themselves. The bastards. It pisses me off what they do to our great stories. And that's what they're doing with Lord of the Rings, right? Lord of the Rings celebrates traditional values, traditional storytelling, okay? Traditional relationships. And Galadriel was just a feminine beacon of authority, but also feminine beauty and power. And she represented feminine, authority and power. But that's problematic. She has to be a girl boss, kicking butt, band spreading and fighting all the guys, killing a troll and stuff like that. And then they misunderstand so many fundamental things in Lord of the Rings. They don't even get the rings right. Like you'd think the one thing that is pretty important to get correct in the world building of making a Lord of the Rings story is how the rings of power function and work. And they can't even do that. Like the
rings
Elven
are made
rings
by the patriarchy, Shad. They just
it's unbelievable that the rings of power, right, are all as evil as the One Ring and can control, dominate the minds and will of people around them. That they show that in the show. And when that's a function of the One Ring, not supposed to be the function of the Elven rings, but because they're like, oh yeah, the rings, they do these things, right? They have them doing those things. And this is like scratching of the surface of contradicting so many fundamental elements in Lord of the Rings that Rings of Power does, right? Then you have just the sheer unbelievable stupidity in the writing. I've done a recent video on Shadiversity breaking down the battle tactics in this last episode. It's brain-breakingly stupid. Next level stupid. And this is like, if Tolkien saw what they were doing with his work, oh my gosh,
dude. So one of my favorite things that I can't remember, it was a documentary I was watching on Tolkien, he was appalled at the fact that people, after reading his books, wanted him to be the officiator of their wedding because they wanted to have a hobbit wedding. That was appalling to him. He was like, no. He's like, that was disgusting to him. He was, because he very much believed in the separation of fantasy and reality, of escapism versus reality. Like knowing that sometimes you just need to take a break from the day to day, clear your mind, hit the reset, have a fun story, and then go back to your day. What people have turned Lord of the Rings, I would argue that Tolkien the fact that we are sitting here arguing about it as passionately as people do, going through all the lore, knowing all of that stuff, Tolkien would probably look at us and be like, you fucking man babies, get out there and go work. It's not, this isn't designed, like legitimately, if you've read his, like what he thought, he was very much about, no, you pick up the story, you read it, you set it down, you go back to your day, at least as far as I know. Maybe, and if I'm wrong,
I think he was pretty strong about keeping the law accurate, and I think you would appreciate people arguing to keep the law accurate.
No, maybe he would appreciate that. I just maybe.
But in terms of people, going out and doing productive things, because I think I might have heard of him not liking the Hobbit wedding thing, but I haven't read it directly.
I know documentary. It was in a documentary that I was watching.
I heard that he didn't like hippies, and when the hippies started to really like his books,
he really did not like the hippies. He was not a fan.
It was an interesting guy, old Tolkien, and I appreciate his puritanism in terms of wanting to keep his books like accurate and pure. He probably would have hated the Jackson trilogy for the changes that they made, and the Jackson trilogy is phenomenal. I love it. And they tried so hard. They tried so hard to be respectful, right, in the Jackson trilogy.
Christopher Tolkien didn't like them either. His son,
but compare the Jackson trilogy to what Rings of Power has done, and if Tolkien would have hated Jackson trilogy, he would be spitting friggin' chips at Rings of Power. The desecration of Galadriel.
He was.
Oh wow! They desecrate Galadriel. They make her a villain. They make Sauron essentially a sympathetic villain that he's just misunderstood. He was abused by Morgoth, and that's why he's bad. They actually have that in this episode. It's like Morgoth, they treated me so poorly, guys. It's unbelievable. They make the orcs sympathetic. The orcs don't want to go to war. They just they just want to be treated nice, and they genocide a whole people, but they just want a place to live. And they're
where there's a whip, there's a way.
Right? I can't believe some of the crap that they have the gall that have pushed in Rings of Power, right?
Even if Sauron was abused by Morgoth, there's an excuse of the evil that he did.
Exactly.
You can't just genocide a planet and be like, oh, but I was sad though.
But bro, I was really sad. Really, really sad though.
But the answer is, don't give a crap. You're an evil scumbag for what you did. That's
bro, I was sad. No, bro, I was
sad. Right.
You're not sympathetic.
Yeah, it's the Menendez brothers' defense.
Right? Yeah, right.
We killed our parents because they molested us.
That might be
everyone was abused
actually,
by Morgoth.
I'm gonna be really honest. If we're gonna go with wood chipper stuff here, it's
yeah, I know, but no, I mean they became literal psychopaths.
Oh, yeah,
right?
But I mean,
and it's not just them. My wife was telling me about this other story earlier. There's another rich guy. He got actually two guys, and they were molested by their au pair, I guess, and then they just they're like, I wonder what it'd be like to kill someone. Yes, I do wonder that too. We should go kill someone and see how it feels. It's like, you guys have lost all sense of morality.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So it's just amazing what is going on with Rings of Power. And I have trouble understanding that if you're a true fan of Tolkien and Lord of the Rings, how you could like Rings of Power. But even then, it's so stupid in terms of the writing, let alone the desecration of the original purity and meaning of Lord of the Rings. Have you guys ever listened to his Tolkien's response to it's in his letters, right? And so there's you can buy a collection of Tolkien's letters, and letter 210 is his response to reading a script that was a script going to be a script adaptation of Lord of the Rings. Have you ever heard some of the quotes from that? Because he roasts the thing, basically. Is like, and this wasn't even nearly half as bad as Rings of Power, right? But it is, he just totally rejects it. And so I have a video here, right? And Royce is typing on his keyboard very loudly.
It's a mechanical. I can't make it not loud. I'm sorry.
You can. I'm typing and I mute.
Little button there
Who are you having a conversation with, Royce? You're clearly messaging someone. It's not us.
See down there, Royce, that button? It's got a little microphone down there.
Oh, okay. There we go.
Turn it all the way up.
All right. I get you. You could have just said it. That's fine. But that's not. You're still not talking. I don't know what he's saying. Anyway, so this is some of the responses Tolkien said to the person who was going to make a screen adaptation of Lord of the Rings. And the video is from European Lore. I don't know much about the channel, but let's listen to him. Let me know if the audio is coming through, guys.
So let us move on and let's.
Can you hear that? That's good.
Yeah.
All right. So he's going to share some of Tolkien's responses to a screenplay. You know this guy?
I've seen European Lore before, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Just read out the beginning of the letter. I have at last finished my commentary on the storyline. Its length and detail will, I hope, give evidence of my interest in the matter. Some, at least, of the things that I have said or suggested may be acceptable, even useful, or at least interesting. The commentary goes along page by page, according to the copy of Mr. Zimmerman's work, which was left with me, and which I now return. I earnestly hope that someone will take the trouble to read it.
And he was pretty meticulous, like looking into.
Dude, he writes a letter just the same way he writes dialogue.
Oh, I miss this. I miss this level of language. It's just so sophisticated.
And now we have like Twitter millennial language, which is just awkward humor and non sequiturs, meta humor. The force, makes the rocks float or something. Like, shut up.
It's honestly why Pride and Prejudice and Jane Austen's works are so good, because she captures the language of the time, and it's just so much better and sophisticated than what we've degenerated into. But let us continue.
If Zed and or others do so, they may be irritated or aggrieved by the tone of many of my criticisms.
So he basically went through the script and just roasted it, ripped it apart, and there's like people sharing some of the notations that he gave, right? And some are actually really interesting.
So I am sorry, though not surprised. But I would ask them to make an effort of imagination sufficient to understand the.
I would ask them to make an effort of imagination sufficient to understand the irritation. The language is.
It's like being roasted by this Oxford professor.
Beautiful, right? But what he's about to say is really important, because this is I think this should apply to most authors, right? Authors, they feel attached to their works, and so it's trying to say, try and understand how irritated an author would be, and then he goes on to say what they did.
The irritation, and on occasion the resentment of an author who finds increasingly, as he proceeds, his work treated as it would seem carelessly in general, in places recklessly, and with no evident signs of any appreciation of what it is all about.
George could have written this to Dan and Dave.
Yeah.
Imagine if Tolkien was still alive and he became like a YouTube essayist.
That would be great. But fundamentally, he says here, right, this adaptation basically was like treated his work carelessly and in places recklessly and showed no evidence or signs of any appreciation of what the original work was about. It's like, oh, like you could just apply that to Rings of Power and double the emphasis, because holy crap, right? And that was just on an adaptation of, you know, the original Lord of the Rings. Oh my gosh. And he even goes on to there's a summary of the letter that he goes on, and yeah, like these are some of the things that he was taking issue with in the script. And so if you look here, it's like the references were a page number of the Zimmerman script, right, sent to him. And he's like calling out, like, you know, fireworks in Gandalf. There were flags and hobbits included in the fireworks, and Gandalf was to be spluttering. Tolkien disapproved both. The eagles, according to Tolkien, the Z, which is Zimmerman, completely misunderstood the eagles, and by letting one named Radagast show up in the Shire, he more or less ruined the surprise of Gandalf's escape and future events, which Tolkien thought was not good for the story. He also mentions like the script adaptation portrayed Tom Bombadil incorrectly. He was portrayed as the owner of the woods, and his language was sillified. So was Goldberry. She would have been better off if she were omitted. And that's interesting, because Tolkien is actually saying in that, like that part, that he understands adaptation. It's like, okay, if you're going to ruin it, just omit her. Don't even include Goldberry. And I don't think he would have
approved. Fair to Zimmerman, I mean, they could have just taken the eagles to Mordor.
No, because the Nazgul probably would have eaten them alive. The Nazgul were circling and flying around. So there are actual answers to the supposed, could the eagles have just flown them all the way?
Or like Sauron, I think, had also had like magic missiles. Magic missile.
Oh, yeah, just Sauron could just shoot at them.
Sauron had an iron dome.
Well, and the reason that I always heard that, you know, they didn't just call the eagles in the off is that the power of the ring, the closer it is to people who Sauron can manipulate, the more it can, especially those who have power, the more it could drag them in, which is why a hobbit happened to be the perfect creature to carry it, because hobbits didn't have wants outside of just
they just want to smoke weed and stuff.
Yeah,
you know,
that's what I've always heard. I could be very wrong on that, but that's what I've heard. So
just going back to this, I love how like meticulous Tolkien is at some points. Like Rivendell and Narsil, it was not a shimmering forest. That was Lothlorien. So Rivendell wasn't, you know, a shimmering forest, which did not resemble. Zimmerman also made it visible from Weathertop, despite it being 200 miles away in a ravine. And it's like, I love, like Tolkien, he knows his work and he wants his work respected and world building respected. And he calls out that Lothlorien wouldn't be visible from Weathertop. And I'm just thinking, like, oh,
if he's this ridiculous about that sort of stuff, imagine what he would say about Rings of Power.
In Rings of Power, where they're just teleporting all over the place. And
okay, Tolkien. So Galadriel falls in love with Sauron. What? Give my hunting rifle.
Like, there are so many logistical stupid things that happens in Rings of Power.
But also the Lord of the Rings with rifles.
No.
Sorry.
No.
Yes.
No, Grace.
Yes.
Right, so Frodo, or no, Bilbo, is this living his own life, and then a bunch of Russians come in to kill his dog. And so Frodo goes on a rant.
And so Bilbo goes to work with a CZ Scorpion 9mm suppressor. Pow, 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 pow.
No, Royce. No.
Yeah. Why?
But talking about the
Eagles.
Eagles.
Have this.
No.
I mean, if they have fireworks, they can make rifles.
It's true.
Hey, look at this one. Like, he actually calls in the Zimmerman script, they were going to use eagles, but Tolkien pulls him up and he says, Zimmerman again shows his utter misunderstanding of the story by having the eagles serve as taxis. It's like,
they're not. They only work for Gandalf.
Oh, man, some of this stuff is great. Z may think he knows more about Balrogs than I do, but he cannot expect me to agree with him. This Balrog laughed, talked, and sneered, while the Balrog was not supposed to speak at all.
Just a bad guy. I imagine that he wanted to write a Balrog that's kind of quippy and says like funny lines and stuff. makes
I'm
fart
so
jokes.
Sick of shit like that.
Holy crap! This one, like
one
Lothlorien
gun to rule them all. Siege gets it. Siege knows.
No,
Yes.
I could
Yes.
I could see the Balrog being made today, and the Balrog like jumps up and roars and reveals itself, and it's like, we're back here, and the Balrog came up the wrong way, so he just like turn around and it gets all awkward, like, oh sorry, and then he chases after them.
So
That'd be if it was done today.
look at this. Lothlorien and Galadriel. Lothlorien in this Zimmerman adaptation was now a fairy castle, and the elves were tiny fairies. Tolkien was irritated and aggrieved, and slammed Z for omitting the temptation of. They omitted the temptation of Galadriel. Holy crap! And all moral material in the rest of the story.
Well, can't a woman be tempted? You know?
Okay.
This Zimmerman story adaptation sounds as horrendous as Rings of Power. Holy crap!
Mr.
Man, I'm
E's
starting to
talking
side with
about,
Trayvon.
One grenade pin ring to rule them all. I like him. Mr. E gets it. He knows how we do. I like Mr. E. He's
Nobody got that joke? Or are you just ignoring it?
I missed it.
I ignore you, Mike.
Look, the Battle of the Hornburg was apparently nothing but glimpses. Tolkien thought either this or the Ents had to go, as neither were properly portrayed. With the Battle of Pelennor Fields in mind, it would have been better to omit this battle. Oh wow, this Zimmerman script sounds like a disaster, and like almost as bad as, because what's amazing is some of these like things Tolkien is taking severe affront to are equivalent to stuff in Rings of Power and the bullcrap that they've changed. Oh gosh, Tolkien would despise Rings of Power. And Rings of Power legitimately is a desecration of Tolkien's work, with points that we can actually link to in terms of equivalences. My gosh. All right, gentlemen, let's grab some of the super chats because I think we've had a good number of them build up as we've been having a very interesting and enlightening discussion. Okay. Mark Reality $5 says, if the USA had not fought in Europe, the USSR would have guaranteed loss to the Third Reich. Our men and material made a game-changing difference. I think you might be right there. I was just trying to trigger Royce.
What
and
fucking
it's really worked. Zach, thank you for the super chat. Zachary Velvet $5 says, would you do an Elder Scrolls Oblivion sword ranking soon? I might. The only issue is the sword ranking videos aren't performing as well, and you got to do the videos that do well. And so we might let the sword rankings rest a bit and come back to them. But I would like to.
Dare you?
Would you also rate the see a little Batman hammer thing? That absolute. The battle.
We might actually make that and test it out in reality.
Check it out. See if it works. See if you can make it fit in your chest.
Oh my! Oh gosh! You're right. Mark Reality $5 says, also the army under Montgomery in North Africa was Australia and New Zealand, not Brit. I had my Aussie uncles in that army and my US uncles under Patton. Oh yeah. We Aussies were represented in World War II.
Dude, the Aussies were fighters in the war, man. Like hats off.
This is a knife.
Oh, like the Australian reputation,
brutal, dude. They were brutal. Like
the Australian reputation of our performance in wars has always been really top tier and impressive. Our reputation now is kind of destroyed.
You know who else had?
As far as I know, Australians are afraid of guns and masculinity.
You know who else had a crazy reputation back then? The Canadians.
Jack Churchill.
Dude, the Canadian they were known for throwing food in the trenches of World War I. And then when the starving enemy would go to rush towards the food they were throwing in, they would follow it up with a grenade. Ooh. The Canadians were, woo.
Oh,
like,
how times
have changed.
Cool. All right, times have changed. Buddy Rap $5 says, "Where is Celeborn? Where is Celebrian? Why did he need to spit swap his elf-in-law for the key? I hate the horn that was like I hate furries." Buddy Rabbit, you hate furries? Well, of course, this is the way.
You fight them fairies, Buddy Rabbit.
But you identify as a rabbit, Buddy. I don't. I'm confused.
Yeah, like an
on.
actual rabbit, not a fairy style rabbit.
Whoa! Rabbits aren't fairies unless he's a fairy rabbit. Then
Okay.
you got problems.
I am corrected.
No, furry.
Buddy Rabbit for $20
Don't start that
says,
shit, Mike.
now Sauron's lust and pride increased until he knew no bounds, and he determined to make himself master of all things in Middle Earth, to destroy the elves and to compass, if he might, the downfall of Numenor. Sounds like you're quoting something official there, Buddy Rabbit. And then Buddy Rabbit continues for $10, says, he broke no freedom nor any rivalry, and he named himself Lord of the Earth, a mask he still could wear, so that if he wished, he might deceive the eyes of men, seeming to them wise and fair. And he continues for another $10, Buddy Rabbit. But he ruled rather by force and fear, if they might avail, and those who perceived his shadow spreading over the world called him Dark Lord and named him Enemy. And Buddy Rabbit again for $10. And he gathered under his government and all the evil things of the days of Morgoth that remained on earth or beneath it, and the orcs were at his command and multiplied like flies. From the Silmarillion. My gosh, sorry. Thank you for sharing those quotes, because these emphasize again the sheer bastardization of Tolkien's works. Because you know what they do in Rings of Power, right? With Sauron, instead of all the evil things flocking to him because he basically inherits all that, Morgoth, left behind, right? He has to convince them to join him like a politician. And then they betray him and stab him in the back, and a bunch of lousy orcs kill Sauron, the Lord of Darkness, right? That's what they do.
Black
It's
power.
not that tough anymore.
Wait,
It's not even that tough.
I'm sorry.
So Gandalf gets killed by a Balrog in his epic battle.
Right.
Sauron gets backstabbed by a couple of goblins.
And it's comical. He gets backstabbed by a hat. The crown of Morgoth that gets reforged somehow has some property that will kill angelic beings when they're stabbed by it. That's what they do.
Like a Three Stooges kid or an Always Sunny.
Oh no, they reforge it, Royce. They make it small because it has to fit his head. But you're right; it used to be massive, and it's supposed to be now a collar around. Well, then it became a collar around Morgoth's neck temporarily. But no, they're bastardizing that as well.
About it. Why did they make it small?
To fit Sauron's head, because Sauron's going to wear the crown of Morgoth.
Sauron is not as big as Morgoth. Morgoth is way more girthy.
Yes.
Than Sauron was.
A lot of girth.
But it's comical. He gets stabbed with a hat, and then a bunch of lousy orcs just hack him to pieces. Right? And Sauron's defeated. And look at like this lines from the Silmarillion, where he ruled by force and fear. Not in Rings of Power. He's ruling by pathetic,
according to Rings of Power, he has to rule by force, fear, and at a distance, because he'll get stabbed to death. What happens when you roll a nat 1 on your charisma roll? He just gets stabbed to death by work.
These are people who have never met somebody who has intended them harm, ever. Like, they don't understand what an actual oppressive force is.
They need to learn history. Buddy Rabbit,
either that or just have their bigger brother beat their ass. It's not fucking hard. Any amount of never mind.
Here's an interesting thing from Buddy Rabbit. The eagles were Maiar and could have been corrupted by the power of the rings.
That's what I was talking about.
Have seen them.
That's what I was talking about.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. And Buddy Rabbit again shares for $5. The Fellowship was meant to remain covert. They would have probably been shot. And 5, skipping the journey is bad storytelling. But yeah, there are many logical explanations to explain why the eagles didn't just fly them to Mount Doom, and it looks like Tolkien actually objected to that because they in the Zoom adaptation they were apparently using the eagles like taxis.
Because Sauron, he's always looking for the ring, so it was like this. It would be if it was a big force, very like a giant force with very like powerful people in it. He would have seen it. If the eagles are Maiar, it's like, wait a minute, why are a bunch of Maiar flying towards Mordor? Let me figure it out.
Shad, I just want to. Your chat is thirsty as fuck. Holy shit.
What?
Nothing. Just a lot of sex jokes down there. Never mind.
I'm sure they're all from your chat, Rose.
Bullshit. Most of these people I've never seen before. So I've seen like one or two.
Really?
Alt.
Most
Yeah.
of you never
Alt.
seen.
The Royce is all.
We appreciate the chat and everyone who has joined us.
My chat is full
hey,
of miscreants
guys.
and delinquents.
Have you seen some of the stuff that's going on with the Ghost of Tsushima sequel stuff?
Yes.
I saw the
Yep.
trailer.
Did a whole video about
Oh,
it.
the
Saw the
trailer?
second follow-up short teaser that they're doing. Saw Metatron's video, and I only watch him very, very seldomly.
I haven't watched that yet.
I was
I've
like,
missed that one.
dude, he posted it, and I was like, insta watch because
What did
I was like,
Metatron say on it?
he's like, so here's the deal. He's like, guys, we don't have enough information with all the bullshit going on. And he's like, from what he's so good at history. He was able to see frame by frame. He goes, that's accurate to the Edo period. That's accurate to the Edo period. He's like, all right, that's a little, no, they wouldn't do that. Whatever. He's like, this is accurate. That looks accurate. Totally what would happen here. This time, dude, Metatron breaks it down so freaking well.
Metatron lived in Japan for several years and can speak it fluently. Like he is
really?
Oh,
Dude,
yeah.
So
when it comes to Japanese history and culture, Metatron knows his stuff.
He was one of the guys. He's like, look, if you're going to tell this story at all with a female character at all that's somewhat historical, he goes, that time period and that specific location of Japan, he's like, that's where you get away with it. He's like, because it again, you look at Japanese history, dude, Metatron's breakdown. He's like, but as far as what we can see right now, and I even covered it too on my channel and covered the whole, like the week. I waited until Friday. All this crap happened between Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I waited until Friday because I wanted to see if any updates happened that were from the developers themselves, or seeing if the voice actress was going to start attacking the fans, because that's very important. And it didn't happen, and it, as of right now, hasn't happened yet. Yet being the key word.
Well, here's the thing, like the voice actress, and this is she is doing the dub, I guess, for the
well, she's part of the main cast, the American cast. The Japanese is technically the dub.
An unhinged woke activist.
Yes,
like she has said some really crazy, vile stuff.
I'm pretty sure you can put the game in Japanese.
Yeah, just play it in Japanese.
I played the original one in Japanese. It's just so fucking good, dude.
I mean, her working on the project does, sour it a bit for me. Like I really
she's
dislike.
Not like a writer or anything.
I know, but she's not a writer, exactly. Because I was going to say I dislike supporting projects made by people who hate us. Yet it's not really made by her. Okay,
voice actor.
She's been in other games that I've played. She's been in Guild Wars 2. She's been in Destiny 2. Like, and I mean, she's. If you actually go and you look and you don't just cherry pick because people are like, look at all these games. If you actually go and look, she's got a large pedigree behind her. And so when you look at that, and it's not just these couple of games that we're going to cherry pick because we want to prove that we're right on the internet, but you actually go and you look at the list of stuff that she's been in, you realize, well, because they do want a Japanese cast to come in, especially for when they're doing like the mocap and stuff, the facial capture, because it's better for the wire work, because believe it or not, Japanese skulls in video games happen to look like Japanese skulls in real world. I don't know how that works because, of the bone structure. But it helps with the facial capture. So they are looking for a Japanese cast for the primary cast, which I don't care.
Yep.
And she just so happens to have a pedigree behind her of working in a metric crap ton of stuff.
I saw
if she is actually really good at her job, I would work with people who don't agree with me politically if they're good at their job and they can, there does come a level if they're really insanely unhinged, where I think I'd probably have trouble working with them. But I get along.
Then they wouldn't work with you, Shad.
Steve Blum is Smoke of Hell, and he's still pretty good. Like he's legendary, in fact. Steve Blum, like he's legendary.
Oh yeah.
He voices like everybody cool. He's voiced Shishio in the English version of Rurouni Kenshin.
Hang on, which version? The new version or the old version?
The original version.
The original. Oh, okay.
Tsunami. Like, he voiced Shishio. He voiced Mike Spiegel.
I recognize his voice. He's not the same one as Spike and Cowboy Bebop. Is that?
Yeah, he's Spike and Cowboy Bebop.
Okay, I know him. Yeah. He's
Dude, he's good. Oh shit, that's
great.
oh, he's good.
He's great.
He's woke to all hell, but he's really good.
Dude, like it's interesting. Like the example that I use is
going back to
Sylvester
the stupid
Stallone.
chat is like all the translators seem to be insanely woke.
Dude,
It's like the entire
Sylvester
industry.
Sylvester Stallone, he's not a woke lefty, but he is absolutely a lefty. I'm absolutely watching Tulsa King season 2.
Tulsa, well,
Like,
there's
Stallone loves
interesting.
Trump.
I don't
no,
think
he's
he's
pretty.
that.
He's
Is he? Because in
oh,
Tulsa
dude,
King,
he is anti-Second Amendment, like bad.
Okay, because
dude.
in Tulsa King, he actually kind of makes fun of people like some woke stuff.
He's not about the woke stuff, but he's definitely not my type of political lean. Like
but Tulsa King is great.
But it's one. It goes back to one of those things. But the second that they say we're injecting this crap into the story, we're done. That's it. That's over. Yeah. They haven't done that yet. And dude, I will say this. I saw, and I'm not going to drop names here because they are names that everybody here would know. I saw people going at people in comments.
Okay.
That I was like, this is nuts. This is
we're not going to
nuts.
mention names, but I do want to just talk about some of the reactions, right? Because here's the thing.
And again,
right?
That's exactly what I want. I just want to talk about the reactions. It was crazy.
Yeah. Well, people are so sick of this woke crap being injected into the stuff we love, right? Like, I do not think them choosing a female protagonist necessarily means that the game is going woke. Yet I understand if people are so defensive about it that that's a red flag for them. Mm-hmm. And they are asking questions as to why. I mean, Ghost of Tsushima was really good by all accounts, and people loved it. And they really liked the protagonist. And if a sequel was coming and they liked what they got, they would be kind of expecting the same package, give us a cool samurai warrior dude, right? And then they change it to a female protagonist. I can understand because of the track record of what's happened with all the properties we love, why they would react with, "Oh, come off it." Really? Why? Because they've done so many times where they replace the male protagonist hero with a female, version, right? They did it with Star Wars. They did it with
this time around to like a new story. So
Indiana Jones.
This is a totally new story. That's why they said and they were like, yeah, Jin's.
I didn't see anything about the trailer.
Here has been my experience with reactions like this, right? Even when people complain because of certain red flags that come up, nearly across the board, on our side, I see nearly across the board that when the thing comes out, it gets judged on its own merits. They don't just say, "Oh, it has a female protagonist; it's a write-off," right? Like, we saw a lot of people skeptical about Furiosa because they were replacing Mad Max with, a female version of her, and the trailer looked like it was just a, female Mad Max, and there was like people reacting with, "Come on, give me a break." But when it came out nearly across the board, they all judged it on its merits. Okay. And same with me. I didn't discount it or anything because it had a female protagonist. It was just a mostly bad movie as a result, with some, there were moments here and there that were, not as bad and stuff. And so I expect that's what's going to happen with this, sequel, Ghost of Yotei or something like that.
Yotei.
Right. And so, dude, I said,
here's how much I love the game. My buddy bought me the freaking ghost mask. It's from Etsy. Like, it's hanging back up there, dude. It's in the background. I love that game so much. And like I said, here's the thing. If it comes out and they are injecting the modern day politics into it, done. Walk away.
It'll get called out. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. But
it'll most is also it's not Ghost of Tsushima 2. It's Ghost of Yotei or whatever. So it's technically a whole new thing. Probably in the same world or something, but it's like it's a whole new story. It's otherwise it'd be called Ghost of Tsushima 2, Electric Boogaloo or something.
Look, I mean, I like those questions that people have. Look, I understand because the question is, why did they change the protagonist to a female? Now, if this was done in the 90s, it wouldn't have been a question. It's like, hey, female protagonist, let's have a cool, sexy, action hero. They love Buffy, they love, alien stuff like that. But because of what is going on today, and we see so often that choices like this are done for ideological reasons. And people are seeing it as a red flag. And I can't fault them for that. It's like, because there's been reports that the company actually is a bit more woke, and that it seems like that they would be willing to make that
every
change.
creative company since the fucking 70s has believed in this crap, that have been in, like, I mean, come on, dude, like Star Trek was fucking leftist back in the day compared to the conservative.
Really.
No.
Hollywood
Gene Roddenberry was a
For the
socialist.
time, Hollywood and the creative types have always been like that. The difference is whether or not they inject it so heavily into the story that people accept it or don't accept it. Like,
so Hollywood has had communism for ages. Razorfist has a great video.
Great video on it,
Hollywood
yes.
I think it's entitled "Hollywood Was Always Red," right?
yeah.
But Hollywood still tried to cater to the population, and there are a lot of movies. Like if you go back and watch old school cinema, a lot of conservative values in them, right? Even though it had a lot of communist crap in, they were still like classic Disney.
They were trying
has
to sneak
great
the
stuff
message in. They were absolutely trying to sneak the message in.
Well, it seems like it's been a long, play where they've slowly been trying to shift that cultural zeitgeist, and they've finally succeeded and have gone off a cliff with how far they're running with it now. As to Star Trek, I think Star Trek classically still has some, conservative values in it. Absolutely. Same with
Especially now.
Especially comparing it
Yeah,
now.
But
now,
I will
like
say, for its time, it was very left leaning. For its time.
Possibly, you could say for its time it was progressive. It did have the first, interracial kiss in it and stuff like that. It was always trying to push the boundaries in that sense. But in terms of being full blown, woke, as in how we define it now, I think it's more anti-woke, really. In a lot of the things, like there are some classic lines in Star Trek that celebrate free speech and go into nuance and things. Like there's this conversation between Picard and Data about the purpose of terrorists and stuff like that, and what they're pushing for. And man, classic Star Trek was friggin' great.
Yeah, I love Star Trek. I love the original series. I watched when I was a kid, and I watched TNG, and I love DS9. I even like Voyager a little bit. Enterprise, okay, and then I'm done. After that, it's kind of
sorry, but you guys call that classic Star Trek. It's like that classic Star Trek is the original Star Trek.
Okay. Well, I'm talking about
Next generation came out.
TNG and DS9 are so old.
Classic.
DS9 and TNG are so old.
We're all not as old as you, Mike. You're a ancient fossil. Holy crap!
Old as shit.
By the way, it's like walking into a game store, which is happening now. You walk into a game store.
I remember when the only Star Trek was classic Star Trek.
GTA Vice City is now considered retro games. Okay,
Dude, no, stop that.
They're retro games now. They're retro games now.
I
so
hate
you feel old yet?
Dude, Vice City. I played so much Vice City.
Vice City was amazing. I love Vice City.
Oh, Vice City was so
How about the
good.
original Deus Ex?
Hey,
I have it. Yeah, that's old.
Hey guys,
yeah,
you know that I was the concept artist on that?
It's
Ooh, I like this question. Ooh.
Well, hang on. First, let's get the super chat. Jude of $5 is basically sharing, I think, a Metatron entitled video. Was Nazi right or left wing? An answer from history. Metatron. So Metatron has been pumping out some of that.
Are we using the British scale or are we using the American scale?
Yeah, that's the thing. There's no, you can't.
Go check out
We're
Metatron.
socialists too.
Yeah.
Go check out Metatron's video.
The right wing in World War II was America. Everyone else was to our left.
the Nazis.
Well, so if you look at how the American government was set up, there was small government libertarians on the right and large government statists on the left. So anything with more government is left wing. It's just a matter of how it's governed. Whereas if you want to go extreme right, that's anarchy because there's no government. So again, like if you're going to sit there and try to say it now, if you're using the way that the Brits view it, is the Brits, they have no idea of what it could possibly be like to be without a government. So to them, it's just like, oh, is it one guy who wants to rule everything, or is it like a bunch of people who say they rule everything? They have their version of right and left wing is like a horseshoe in the middle, whereas the American version is more like a
straight
scale.
line.
Yeah, it's a straight line. Like
no government, tyranny.
Yeah,
Right, left. That's
Yeah.
how it works here.
and again, there are gradations of it. But yeah, yeah.
We Are Harbinger for $10 says, I think Star Trek, TNG especially, was its own politics. You view what happened from the perspective of the characters. Now, Klingons aren't even Klingon. It's
Yeah,
been
there's some weird
infected
creatures.
and brought low. Oh, well,
Like, what the hell
Well,
happened to
and-
don't
Klingon?
even get me
But-
started, dude.
My point to bringing it up, and Shad,
you
you
for
said it
suggesting.
better than I did, was it was progressive for its time, right?
Yeah.
Now we're just staring at the modern lens of progressive for our time, and turns out it's a progress a lot of people really don't want to make.
It's going off a cliff. It's
Dude.
come full circle to where progressivism once wanted to push, equal representation, stuff like that, and now it's like anti-straight white men,
Yeah.
and they actually are pushing for the opposite of proper representation. And it used to be equality under the law. Now it's equality of outcomes, and the only way to achieve equality of outcomes is with communistic totalitarianism,
The race
social
to the bottom.
engineering.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's
So
insane.
what do you guys think? What are your takes on the Ghost of Yote? What do you guys think?
I haven't even played the first game yet, and so
No, Shad, bad.
I have limited time, all right? And
so good.
and dude, you know that like one of the things, like if you want to hook me into a game, okay, give me a good character creator, all right?
There's no
then
character
I'm-
creator.
then I'm-
There's no character creator.
I
Dude,
know, right? I know.
Yeah.
Why do you think I love Dragon's Dogma so much?
Dude, I said this in my video. I have never played a game with a female protagonist.
So you're gay.
And no, I'm not.
He's a-
I don't.
He's a
I don't.
metrosexual.
I don't imagine myself as a woman. So no, there.
No,
was,
no, Royce, I'm not letting you get away with
I
that.
had-
It's not
no, no, no.
about imagining yourself as a woman. It's about appreciating the
That's
view.
trans.
Okay?
I'm not
you're
trans.
playing
I don't
a
play as
game,
women.
Dude,
Royce,
if I
when
wanna
you're playing it,
appreciate-
no, Royce, no, I'm
stop,
talking
no,
over you.
wait,
Shut
wait,
up,
wait,
Royce.
Stop.
Royce, who would you rather? Haha, yeah. Now you.
Who would you rather? Uh-oh, this is gonna be bad.
Who would you rather? What would you rather look at, Royce, when playing a game? Sweaty man ass or attractive woman ass?
Sweaty man ass, because I'm straight as hell.
Ass when I play a video game, I look at the
When you
objective.
play a third person, you have no choice but to look at their ass.
Wait, are you telling me that you stare at the asses of polygons on screen?
You can't help it. It's in your face when you're playing
No, it's
Tomb
not.
Raider. What's
Are
in
you,
front of you?
first
are
person,
you
you don't have to worry
cameras? What the
about
fuck are...
What
I
is this
literally
stopping
look
you? Do you play third person character like games?
Well, what's
At
great
all?
about having was playing a male
dude,
character in a
I've never
third-person
played.
game.
I've never played a game where I'm just like, oh, my character's ass is more important than the fucking 20 ads
conversation
that are
has gotten
coming at
to
me
an
while the
early game.
boss is fighting me. Dude, I've
What are the
never
ads?
played
Where
a
did this come
game
from?
where I've cared more about character ass than I did about the enemies I was fighting.
It's not. That's a false equivalence. I was just saying, if you had the choice, I would rather look at an attractive female character than a male character. It's a
Dude,
simple-
I don't look at them. I
Look,
look at
Alexander
the
Cross.
enemies.
Alexander Cross says for $2, Royce
Dude,
is the big gay.
If you want to look at, ass, go to the hub.
You
okay?
can't help. It's in your face. The character's rear end is in front of you,
Dude,
Royce.
there is one game I think I've ever played that female character, and it was my 9th playthrough of it. It was my 9th playthrough of it. It was KOTOR 2, and the only reason I did that is because there was one character that I had to play the female in order to unlock another character, and once I classed him up to a Jedi, I never actually finished that playthrough.
You're losing the chat, Royce. They're not with you on this one.
Well, you play a
Well,
male character
dude,
in third person. You always remember to go to the gym afterwards because you're staring at a sculpted butt the entire time.
No,
We are
but
harboring
this is
for
like
$2.
this is like people
I like.
who
I like.
Not
this
in
is like people who
Concord.
watch anime to see
Not in
anime.
Concord.
Not on
This
Concord.
is like people who watch anime for
They're
fan
not even men
service.
over there.
It's
They're like
fucking
pay them
weird.
things. So
It's
Hang on.
fucking weird.
No, you come off it, man. What are you
No, dude,
talking
I'm dead
about?
serious. I've
No,
never.
what you're saying then, you're essentially saying it's weird that guys are attracted to women by
No,
extrapolation.
it's
with
weird that
logic.
guys are trying to sexually look at a cartoon image.
You say the
Go,
cartoon...
dude, I got no
I got-
issues if you want to go to the hub. Go to the hub. That's fine. But if you're gonna
there's
sit there and
nothing
tell
more
me,
gay than liking
if
women,
you're gonna
okay?
sit there that tell me that looking at a polygonal drawing image is the same as looking at a real woman,
It
you need
depends on
fucking
how
help.
well it's
Go
drawn,
touch
Royce.
fucking grass.
Royce, have you seen some really high quality artwork? Like they're not equivalent. Stop trying to lump it into one bag.
I'm starting to grow concerned with what exactly Shad is doing with all these AI images.
See?
All right, hang on.
Just be honest
Academia.
about it. Go to the hub, get what you need. But I'm sorry, the video game stuff. That's weird, man. I don't understand it. That's like people. Sorry. That's like the guys that you go and they have to stare at every fucking woman that walks by and they won't shut up about it. It's like, dude, we get it. You're thirsty. Shut up.
Sorry. Mike,
I've never.
What am I doing with some AI images? Look, sometimes
Oh, jeez.
Look, this is clearly not AI. This is actually just a photo of myself.
Holy fuck!
And actually, I made that for a Codan stream. I was going to be because I enjoy Codan Exiles, and I wanted an avatar for my voice in the bottom corner.
That's the straightest
my
picture I've ever seen.
Yeah, right. That's straight. But actually, if you're getting me started on the AI stuff.
I did not.
I'm sad to hear you say that a sweaty version of yourself is getting you started.
That's
yes.
Wow, that's I did not need that, Mike.
I don't know, but
why are you? Ow, no.
I don't know.
No.
This one is an image of my wife as Supergirl.
Okay, but that's fine. That's fine. I'm all right with you getting started on your wife. That's fine.
My wife is beautiful.
He's got enough kids.
Your wife is your wife is your wife, and that's where. Yeah, no,
Life,
and that's what I mean. Technically, this image is in an artistic kind of rendered style. Okay, it depends on how good the image is and the quality of the artwork, Royce. All right, you see. So are you just saying that it's weird people like looking at attractively, depicted, drawn art, women, right? It depends how good the art is, isn't it?
What's the purpose of it?
What? To enjoy a pretty image? Are you like?
Yeah, that's a waste of fucking time.
Oh, dude. Piss off! Oh, what is this?
I'm being fucking
this?
serious.
No,
dude.
that's the purpose of art, Royce.
My entire job.
Legitimately, you can ask my wife.
My entire freaking career.
Yeah, what are you saying? Yeah, those are fighting words, Royce.
Dude, no, I've
comic
been that
book
way
artist,
my
bro. That's
entire
what I do.
fucking life.
I don't think you believe that. I think you appreciate I
think Royce
everyone
is a big fan of Concord.
No. Oh, that shit ass. No.
Well, he doesn't see that. I don't think he sees himself as a they them either. So.
No, again, this is one of those things where my brain just functions differently than somebody. I almost walked away from anime permanently because friends of mine kept trying to show me like fan service anime that they thought, and I was like, this is fucking stupid. Oh, what do you mean you don't like this? I'm like, no, what the fuck there's no fucking story here. Like, the girl loses like almost enough of her clothes to not show me anything. That's a fucking waste of time. Like, I legitimately, the only reason I even started getting, because my daughter's getting old enough and she's getting into anime. So as a parent, I'm like, okay, I need to check to make sure which ones are good before the kids watch them. That's the only reason I started getting. I was like, wow, there's actually some good storytelling here and good characters. I legitimately thought anime was just for a bunch of pervy dudes that wanted to jerk it, but like if they got caught, they'd be like, "No, mom, look, it's not that. It's just a cartoon." I am dead serious, dude.
Royce, some anime is. I'll give you that, but not all anime. Not all anime.
But I agree with you now. But I had that view for so long because apparently my friends in high school were really pervy.
Teenage boys, teenage boys.
I mean, I was too, but I was going to the hub, man. Right. I'm just being honest. Like I
know, but it shouldn't be a surprise that teenage boys are.
Am I gonna regret asking what the hub is?
He's referring to Pornhub.
Oh,
yeah. Thank you, Royce.
I didn't know users called it the hub.
I was trying to be YouTube friendly. Lit Dev, please tell me you knew what I was talking about.
Yeah, it's banned in Texas, so you actually can't go to it.
And actually, quite a few other states now.
Good.
But no, I know it. That's one of the things that people are like, Royce, you're fucking weird. I'm like, I know. This is the shit that I argue about. But no, like the Ghost of Yote thing, I don't think it's woke, man. Not yet.
Not yet.
Here,
We'll
I
see.
expect it to go woke, sadly. But until I'm given evidence that it is 100%, but I do expect it to go that direct. I mean, I don't think that's ridiculous at all to say I don't see it now, but I expect it to do that.
We'll see. Look, time to start wrapping it up. So let's grab these super chats. We got a $20 from Buddy Rabbit. Buddy Rabbit, thank you for all the super chats you've been throwing our way. We appreciate you, mate. And he says, now I'll give Royce that olive branch. He is sad by the expression of terminally online, low energy men fanatically engaged with digital art or animated forms of fictional sexualization. I'm the same way. I can't stand anime. And look, I think there is a point to it going too far. Just, and so I can give that branch to Royce as well. Like I said, some anime is just degenerate slop, absolute crap. But don't throw it all under the bus. There's some anime that's phenomenal as well. It's a genre now, okay? There's good anime, there's bad anime, there's
did you ever get
anime,
the chance
there's
to check
wholesome
out
anime.
Windbreaker?
No, not yet.
Dude, it's such a good show for young men. Seriously.
Very poorly named.
It was the Japanese name for it is like it's the Japanese god. It's
I'm sure it sounds much cooler in Japanese.
It does sound much cooler in Japan, but it's So
So it'll be Kama something because
like
Kamikaze is divine wind. So Kaze is wind, actually. All right. We also have another super chat from We Are Harboring of $5. Says, when it comes down to it, most things are a waste of time. Don't go full Matt Walsh. If you want an anime with story, watch Code Geass.
I reviewed it. You wouldn't be happy with my review.
This is the thing, right? What do they mean by waste of time? Because you're not building a cabinet or something like that. No. Sometimes you need to relax and you need entertainment. And I don't think that's a waste if you need something to unwind. Okay. What pisses me off is when people think like, oh, go read a book. And yeah, reading a book is good, but essentially it is as much wasting of time as watching a good show.
So
like they're not necessarily one better than the other.
Let me clarify what I mean by a waste of time. And I don't know why my brain is wired like this, but it has to do with like a production mentality. Getting something done. Now, even when and what was weird is even when I'm watching a show, the stimulation from a show, I'm still in a production mentality. Like I want a certain level from it. It's very weird. And again, it's just how my brain works. It's not a waste of time when the value add is there. But I'm sorry, sitting there just staring at ass all day is not a productive valuation of your time.
We have to do all
day.
And again, there are a lot of people that like they try to go down that road. And I'm like, but it's not a productive. It doesn't produce value. I'm sorry, Attack on Titan up until the last season produced a lot of value and entertainment and a lot of escapism. Very good.
Okay.
But again, it's
just
how my brain
ugly,
functions.
Though.
Okay, there are some kind of false equivalences and stuff because I think like there's a difference between watching a lewd anime that someone's just staring at ass all day versus just watching a show that is entertaining but doesn't really add much. Like and it's perfectly fine to have escapism, entertainment. People need it. I think it's actually an important thing. But then there is another distinction between that and then wasting time on that and doing nothing with your life.
Yes.
Okay. Of course, there are scales in everything that we're talking about. Buddy Rabbit for $2 says, please, men, don't goon, touch grass. And I think that's what Buddy Rabbit is kind of also, that's the sentiment being implied here, is that don't waste away your life by just watching aimless, stuff, right? No, you do need to do something productive, okay?
Create something.
To society, create something, absolutely. But also at the same time, don't be shamed away from enjoying just, wholesome entertainment, okay? And if you enjoy playing a female protagonist because there's something pretty to look at, Don't be shamed by it. And in fact, that is far more straight than watching sweaty man ass. That's the truth.
Dude, if you're playing a game and you're not watching the enemy attacking you, what are you even doing?
Dude, you see the whole image, right? The whole thing is in your face. You don't just watch one tiny thing on the screen, Royce.
I hate to admit this, but I'm kind of with Royce on this.
Oh, really?
Wait a minute. Heidi, clip that. I need it clipped.
Yes, Royce, you should use that as like, yeah, Royce, you got to use that as like just a playable, thing to come in whenever you have an opinion.
Every time.
And Mike, you did that to yourself when you betrayed me. That's what you get.
No, I just don't. I mean, like, did people like? I don't understand people like staring at. And it's funny because as an artist and like selling prints and stuff, it's like the hot girl pictures always sell the best, and it's like,
yep,
you're like staring at a drawing.
But I know it can be a pretty drawing.
I know it's a pretty drawing.
There's a reason behind
things,
it, and
but
it's not.
like,
There's a reason, Shad. That's what we're getting at, and the reason's weird.
No, it's not.
Bullshit. Dude,
being attracted to women is not weird, right?
No, being attracted to
you are way reducing this.
All right, let me. Being attracted to an exaggerated or idealized or stylistic depiction of a woman is also not gay.
We're not talking about attraction. We're talking about it turns into fetishization to a certain point with some people.
It can go too far, that I admit. But the fact that just looking at attractive drawing of a woman,
but the fact that it sells better tells us that it goes too far.
Because if it's stylized and idealized, and stuff like that, of course that's gonna be appeal to people more. Like, because art can stretch the proportions of reality, right?
Look, and here's the thing. I dropped a Joker redesign video yesterday. And I dropped a Harley, or not yesterday, a couple days ago, and I dropped a Harley redesign today. I will bet you dollars to donuts the Harley one does better.
Mm-hmm. And as Alexander Cross,
$5. The innocent attraction.
Rice, I'm reading your super chat. Alexander Cross for $5 says, womanly women are nicer to look at than manly men more often than not. If I have the one or the other at the center of my screen, women every time. That's all I'm saying. Thank you, Alexander Cross. And it is time to wrap up, gentlemen. This has been a wild stream. Fun as always. Love you, Royce. Hey, I
feel like a kicked puppy every time I get off of this stream.
Yeah, Shad, could you just
doing our job? That's great.
Down and edit that part out.
No, I'm clipping it. I'm clipping it. It's already
nobody put that.
It's going.
That is there forever.
I go back into my kennel now.
Oh. G2 Bryce $5 says World War II pilots painted scantily clad women on the side of their planes. I guarantee you they are more manly than you ever will be. Oof. Oof.
I think he's talking to you, Royce.
Time to wrap up though. Where you are, where you're from, what you doing, mate?
My name is Royce. I'm from A Drink with Crazy and the A Drink with Crazy live channel. Over on my main channel, I cover main topics that you would know about, AAA gaming, things like that, stories that you would be familiar with. Over on my live channel, I cover indie creators on Wednesday nights. I interview a new indie creator every single Friday, and then I just hang out with you guys over on Sunday. So if you guys are interested in the Iron Age and what they have to offer, I got the people, I got the books, I know where to tell you to find them, and hopefully you guys check out the live streams and you guys find your new favorite creator.
Legend. Lit Dev, what you up to? Where you from?
I'm still making some videos on YouTube, working on them. I haven't released in a while, but I will have a lot of them coming out pretty soon. One of them I'm working on is going over the idea of why is the male fantasy so bad? We're going to tackle that topic, but also going into making a comic that I'm hoping to launch this month. That's what I'm hoping to. So I'm finishing up the story now, and hopefully that will launch this month because October is the best month of the year. So
awesome, man. And Mike, you're showcasing something as well. This was your most recent video.
Yeah, I actually launched this video during this stream because I've been so busy today. I didn't have time to put it up, but I just finished it. It's going up. I put the link in the chat if anybody wants to go over there and check it out. You can see me redesigning Harley Quinn in a way I think is more respectful of her original costume design. I never understood why they're constantly turning her into some biker chick.
Dude, she's a bimbo now.
right? I don't get it.
Just
Sexing up Harley Quinn and make her look like a stripper or a freaking biker chick or a punk rocker. None of that makes any sense to the original character.
No.
So I tried to do a design.
Kind of what is it? It bridges the gap because there is still some sexiness there. But
well, I took what I did was I took sort of a 50s diner waitress and I mixed it with a Perot clown. And I thought that would be a good look for Harley.
Awesome. And so check out Mike's channel and his content there. And thank you everyone for joining us on this these wild streams. They're a load of fun. We appreciate you all. We appreciate you, Royce, even though we treat you like a kicked puppy.
Oh God.
All right, thanks everyone.
Shad.
All right, and as always, stay on watch.